Much for joining us and for your insight. We now move over to Europe for our next story, where Ukraine says it will need at least $120 billion for defence in 2026. Defence Minister Denis Shimal made this statement today. Kiev is seeking about half of that amount, around $60 billion, from NATO and EU partners. Negotiations for funding are now underway. Meanwhile, Russia has launched another wave of drone attacks on the Ukrainian city of Odesa, sparking fires and damaging buildings overnight. Explosions rang out, with drones flying straight towards the city. Windows shattered, cars burned, and an administrative building caught on fire. Authorities say civilian infrastructure was hit, but no deaths have so far been reported. Earlier warnings from the Air Force alerted the region as drones flew in from the Black Sea. The northeastern city of Sumy also faced an airstrike hours earlier, with 3 people being injured, including a child, as guided bombs hit residential areas. We're now joined by Peter Bourne, who's a foreign editor of the weekly Blitz. He joins us from London to discuss this further. Peter, thank you very much, as always, for joining us on the programme. Peter, what are your thoughts on the fact that Ukraine seeks $60 billion for its 2026 defence budget against Russia? The way that they are planning on getting this is half through the organisations of NATO and the European Union. What do you think those bodies' stance are going to be on this if we do get to 2026 before a peace deal is reached?
Yes, thank you, Thomas. Good morning, good day to you all. This is quite remarkable. I was looking up the figures before I came onto your programme. The amount of money that Ukraine has received from its Western allies, the US and NATO countries, is absolutely staggering. United States has already provided $195 billion worth in aid. Now, Trump supposedly has done a deal with Ukraine for access to the minerals within Ukraine once the war has ended. So that transactional deal may prove indeed beneficial, perhaps profitable for the Trump administration and the United States economy. But as far as the Europeans are concerned, it's a devastating amount of money that they have to provide. The UK is in dire financial straits. Only this morning, figures came out where the cost of borrowing has risen, but not only that, the amount of borrowing that the UK needed for the month of June alone was 20 billion sterling more than was thought before that happened. The UK has already provided, again, another 20 billion in aid to Ukraine, and it is going to be a huge financial strain on the UK economy and indeed on other NATO countries who are in similar financial constraints to provide this amount of aid to Ukraine to keep the war going. So clearly, it must be in everyone's interest from an economical point of view to bring this war to a close, because I cannot for the life of me see how the UK and its NATO partners can continue to fund this cost, especially when domestic financial pressures are so high.
Yes, Peter Bourne, thank you very, very much for your insight and those figures. We now move on to the world of health, where AstraZeneca has announced